Imagine going on a hunting trip, only to end up dying and finding yourself in an otherworldly realm where crystal cities sparkle and beings with no eyes gaze at you with curious wonder. This is the incredible experience that one man had as he glimpsed into a future filled with wars on Earth. But when he returned to life, he was faced with a difficult decision: undergo surgery to regain his ability to walk, or rely on the whispers of an otherworldly voice that promised him the power to walk again. His decision left doctors and loved ones alike to wonder if a divine being intervened on his behalf. This is the incredible story of a man who experienced something beyond our world and whose life was forever changed by a whisper in his ear. Welcome to Peculiar Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content. And don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. Without further ado, let's get to the story. What have you accomplished in life? This account truly is amazing. My name is Rick, and in 1982, I was a correctional officer for the Georgia Department of Corrections. I had a regular 7-day shift schedule, and this week I worked from 12 up to 8 a.m. shift. I punched my time card and left work in the month of December on a chilly morning. I was anticipating this morning because my family and I had planned a hunting trip on our 98-acre farm near the Chattahoochee River. When I got home, I assembled my equipment in an effort to get going as soon as possible. Like most people who have regular working hours, my wife had already departed for work. I usually called her before I went hunting, but on this particular morning I was pressed for time. I had to hike for about 2 miles to get to my tree stand, and I got there around 10:15. My stand was in front of a large patch of pine trees about 20 feet high. The backside, which was exposed to the river below, dropped off to the river's enormous boulders. I started climbing up and tied off my rifle to be pulled up after I reached the top. When I got to the top, I got into position to raise my rifle. Then suddenly I heard a snap. I would later come back to this site a lot to think about my life. I measured the distance from the top of the stand to the boulder I landed on during a trip with a friend. 80 feet tall. I could see the river rising quickly as I started to fall to it below. Even though there were only a few seconds left before impact, it felt like I was moving slowly because I knew this was my final moment. My mind was racing with so many ideas. No one knows where I am, not my wife, daughter, or family. Will I ever be discovered? Then, it became dark. I'm not sure how long this darkness persisted. Then, a wonderful thing took place. My body felt like it was leaving me. A few feet above the river, I was floating. I had mixed emotions as I examined my body. I could see a trickle of blood on the boulder underneath me while I was bleeding from my mouth, nose, and ears. I felt a pulling and started to rise quickly as I considered the state of my body. I was speeding up through the air at a great rate of speed. I could see the earth as I descended out of the atmosphere. What a lovely sight. It was incredibly well lit. I could see the planets as I peered ahead. This couldn't be, I told myself. I was never informed that anything like this would or could occur after my death. The pace was picking up and getting faster. As I sped forward, I noticed additional star systems and galaxies. I walked into what appeared to be a hole of some kind. It was dark and drawn out, but all around me I could see light streaks in every color of the rainbow. I could make out a dim light in the distance, up ahead, that was getting brighter and brighter. I felt it throughout my entire being as I stepped into the light. I was no longer afraid. Then all of a sudden I was in front of a huge flight of stairs. They led up to what appeared to be some sort of walk or bridge. I noticed a magnificent and amazing sight off in the distance. A city that had the appearance of being made of glass or crystal. The lights that emanated from it were multicolored. I've never witnessed such a sight before. In a daze of shock, I started to move in the direction of the city. My mind was spinning with so many questions. I needed to know my location. What was going on with me? When I arrived at the city's entrance, I noticed a double door that appeared to be about 30 feet in height and width. It had a polished-looking shine to it. The doors started to open as I stood there in confusion. I stepped back and peered inside. On the inside, I could make out what appeared to be people moving about, much like they would in a mall here on Earth. But the attire on these individuals was totally different. They all appeared to be wearing robes with hoods, for starters. I walked through the doors and was in awe of what I saw. The interior was enormous. It appeared to be square-shaped, with balconies surrounding it that descended to various levels. I climbed up and peered over the balcony from below. It felt like it went on forever. Many people were passing me as I looked up, but nobody seemed to pay any attention to me. Then, as one was coming towards me, he abruptly stopped. I could see his face as he slowly raised his head. He had every characteristic of a human form, bar one. The eyes, no eyes. However, they appeared to shift to blue hues. He had snow-white hair. Before I could say anything, he turned and pointed down a long hallway. We never spoke, but I was aware that I needed to proceed down this hallway. He then carried on as if nothing had happened. I also knew that I had to. I felt as though I should move forward. I took a long detour to get to this hallway's end. I didn't make a turn to the left or right. I had a sneaking suspicion that my inquiries would soon be resolved. I once more noticed a large double door in front of me. I couldn't tell if it was made of gold or another type of metal, but it appeared to be one. The door suddenly opened. Though it wasn't a voice we could hear saying, I thought I heard it say, "Enter." As soon as I followed instructions, the door slammed shut behind me. For the first time ever, I felt scared. Complete blackness, complete silence. Then, after some undetermined amount of time, a bright light started to shine in the room. It became brighter and brighter. It was somewhat in front of me and above me. I attempted to look, but it nearly made me blind. I raised my hands in front of me and I could see what appeared to be a figure sitting on a seat of some sort. Then, suddenly, it took place. What have you accomplished in your life? My very being was invaded by the voice. I had no response. Then, to my right, I noticed what appeared to be a movie, and I was a part of it. I witnessed my mother giving birth, my early years, and my friends. I was there from my early years on. Everything I had ever done was laid out in front of me. I made an effort to focus on the positive things I had accomplished as my life unfolded in front of me. I was raised in the church and had been very involved in church activities, but as I was thinking about this, I noticed a man driving a car that was out of gas. About a year ago, I had stopped and driven him to a nearby shop. Due to his lack of funds, I had purchased him some gas and assisted him in leaving. I questioned why I was seeing this. The voice was audible and distinct. You gave this soul no thought while making no requests in return. These deeds embody what is right in the world. I was also shown how my actions had caused the actions of others, and I saw all the people I had injured. I was in awe. I never considered how my actions might influence those of my friends, family, and new acquaintances. All my efforts had paid off, as I could see. I was not at all pleased. I watched until everything was over. I had actually accomplished so little in my life. I had done so many things that were selfish and cruel. I deeply regretted what little I had accomplished. The voice spoke once more, this time very clearly. You must come back. But I didn't want to go back. Despite what I had seen and heard, I was happy to stay and yearned to stay. I responded, I have a lot of questions. There are things I need to know but don't understand. You must go back and, by changing yourself, assist others in changing. The doctors will want to operate on you. Stop this from happening. You won't be able to walk again if you do. Someone will come to you and bring you the solutions to your problems. You'll return when I call, I promise. If you take action, you will be able to move past everything that has occurred. Look ahead to see what is coming. I turned around to see a chaotic earth, terrible images of war and death. Cities were destroyed, then rebuilt. I witnessed an exploding volcano in the United States, engulfing many cities in darkness. As I watched, I witnessed the demise of our current system of government. horrible sights of people killing for food and water. I witnessed what appeared to be a massive explosion in the atmosphere of the Earth, and a lot of land was destroyed. As I observed, I noticed a different group of individuals, younger and more peaceful. There were not many cities left, but these people appeared content. I once more heard, "It's time for you to go." But I was eager for more. When the doors finally opened, I felt as though I was being carried down the hallway. I felt like I was shooting through the hole I had just come through as I passed through the city's doors. Unable to stop, I moved faster. I ascended into Earth's atmosphere and observed the river below. My body was still there, motionless. After that, it was like a powerful electric shock that made my body jump. When I opened my eyes, I could see the skyline and the trees above. The pain after that, my God! I was choking on my own blood and fighting for every breath. I was able to roll onto my stomach because the pain was unbearable. The sun appeared to be lower in the sky than I had remembered. I regarded my watch. It was 5:30. How I could get help was all I could think about. I saw my rifle nearby, still fastened to the rope I'd fastened around my waist. I started bringing it closer to me. I succeeded in grabbing the barrel and bringing it close to me. I hoped someone would arrive as I fired a shot roughly every 10 minutes. As it got later, I realized I wouldn't have much time left, so I started to crawl on my stomach while pulling myself along with the rifle stock. I succeeded in stumbling up a path that led down to the river. The pain was so intense that I frequently passed out as I continued to crawl. I crawled through briar patches and dense brush. I was so worn out and in so much pain that I just wanted to give up. I hoped to get at least to a place where I could be found, but I knew I had to get there. The road I lived on could be seen through the trees as I peered out in front of me. The distant sounds were audible to me. "Oh, thank God," I said to myself. I eventually came to a road and started to make a weak cry for help. However, I was so worn out that I just lay there in the road. I was lying in the road when my father-in-law discovered me while coming home from work. He said, "It's okay. Assistance is on the way," which I overheard. Up until I noticed the lights inside the emergency room, that was the last thing I could recall. At my feet was a doctor. He asked, "Can you feel this?" "Feel what?" I questioned. My legs and feet had been getting poked by him. I became immobile. "We are unable to assist you at this time. We are sending you to a hospital that can handle your injuries by ambulance." I must have been drugged up because I was completely out of it. 2 doctors were standing at the foot of my hospital bed when I woke up the following afternoon. They introduced themselves as my attending doctors and then told me why I needed to have surgery right away. My spinal nerve was being compressed by the broken bones in my back, which resulted in paralysis. Then I heard the previous warning again. "Do not allow them to operate, or you will never be able to walk again." However, I was aware that they would not. I informed them that I had to first see my wife and daughter. Shortly after the doctor visit, my wife and daughter arrived. I related what they had said to her. She told me that I needed to understand that they were making every effort to assist me. I didn't know how to explain what had happened to her. I made an attempt to explain to her that I did not think I should have surgery. She didn't agree, but she respected my requests. The doctors were very upset when they came back, and I told them about my choice. I kept listening to lectures. "If you never want to walk again, that's up to you," one of them said. Then they departed. I sobbed bitterly as I lay on my bed that night. Was I crazy? What did I do? My room began to become illuminated. "You'll be fine," I overheard a voice say. Then it vanished. I took a deep breath and went to sleep. Days became weeks, and weeks became months. Later, I experienced tingling in my feet one morning. I was giddy with happiness. I expressed my desire to stand and move to the nurse. We'll see," she said as she gave me a blank look. Without a doubt, I realized I had recovered. My doctor was contacted by the nurse, and the following morning he came by. He asked, "So you think you can walk?" "Yes," I answered. "We'll see," as they say. I was brought downstairs to the physical therapy room a few hours later. They raised me to a vertical position after carrying me by bed down. In front of a set of parallel bars, the the nurse assisted me. I firmly planted my feet on the ground while holding onto the bars. Step 1. Steps 2. The nurse said to the nurse who had brought me down, "My God, he's walking." The next few days were difficult. In accordance with my doctor's orders, I visited physical therapy frequently and had a lot of x-rays done. Even though my wife and family were all in awe, I knew. I was informed. It had to be true for the rest as well. The absence of any bones pressing on my spinal nerve even more astounded my doctor. I paraphrase him. "This is not normal. What we were planning to try to fix with surgery seems to have been done for you by a higher power. This is something I've never seen before." Final quote. My life has changed since that time, and I've been able to assist people in ways I never imagined. This is what has motivated me to continue searching for the truth, so I wanted to share it with everyone. To all, peace and light. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch this next.